So we will read Commandment 9, its commentary by Pujya Babuji Maharaj, and then read the commentary by Sar on it. Mold your living so as to rouse a feeling of love and piety in others. We get power from our thought. It happens only when we create perfect harmony between things of our making and those of the divine. The word Vyavahara, practical dealings, carries a wide meaning. It covers the entire sphere which falls next to the ultimate. There is uniformity in divine dealings, but only in a particular sense. For example, he gives light equally to all. He has created air for all to breathe in, and so also many other things which foster the growth of life and sustain our existence. This can be interpreted as the uniformity of nature's dealings, Vyavahara. There are other things too which present themselves in a modified form, and they are dealt with in a different way. It is obvious that when a thing made of clay comes before us, we take a different view of it, and our liking for it is increased in comparison to the mass of clay which it is made up of. Similarly, when a man approaches God after proper making of himself, he takes a different view of him. This goes to explain that we should effect such a making of ourselves as may help us to become the cynosure of his eyes. This dealing of nature we have to copy and apply in our daily life. Nature's dealings described above are manifested in diverse ways. The variety of colors in different objects is an instance of it. A flower blossoms in red color, another close by in yellow or blue. Thus, nature manifests herself in different colors, each object receiving its due share according to its capacity and work. In other words, she is dealing with them in her own particular way. This example must be kept in view, and all our dealings must be molded accordingly, with due regard to proper needs and fair right of everyone, and bring them in close conformity with those of nature. This will add further force to its effectiveness, and the people will be attracted towards you. It will create a feeling of love in their hearts, and they will begin to behave with you in the manner which you duly deserve. Any questions or clarification? We will read Pujya Sar's commentary on Commandment 9, and this principle is titled as molding, which basically means transforming. The ninth commandment advises us to mold your living so as to rouse a feeling of love and piety in others. Why should we live like this? Our primary duty, we have noted earlier, is to reach the homeland. This we do by annihilating our individual creation and live in the domain of the divinity. Having achieved this, it becomes our duty to help our brethren also to reach the goal. By living in a manner that arouses love and piety to the divine in others, we would be discharging our responsibility. Though this appears to be very difficult, it is possible. We know we got motivated to move towards the divinity because of revered Babuji, that it was possible for him to be a divine in expression. It shall be a possibility for all of us also. That is why revered Babuji has really exhorted all of us to become as we see it in the prayer he gave us to follow. He never said that we fall at his feet and that is our goal. We say fall at his feet because of our deficiencies and weaknesses. We say it because of our incapacity to live up to the level at which he lived. We are conscious of our inability to reach that level. That's why we all say that Revered Babuji is the master and we all surrender to him to reach the goal. Still, that is not how Revered Ramchandra wants us to live. He exhorts us to live in such a way as he lived, so that if he could motivate all of us to think in terms of divinity, we also, as expressions of divinity, shall motivate others to come up to that level. We may be insignificant men, but still we can show the path to others. How to do this? By following all the above commandments, living according to the levels expected of us, we will be in a position to influence others. Molding our speech, moderation being our approach, balanced existence being our approach, piety being our approach, devotion being our approach, love being our expression, it should be possible for us to make others think in terms of divinity. Each one of us is succeeding to some extent. None of us has succeeded to the extent that he succeeded. Perhaps we will not, but still, that is the challenge. That is the opportunity. That is his call. Revered Babuji's call is mold your living so as to rouse a feeling of love and piety in others. It is not something that we may do or we may not do. It is not something that we can do or cannot do. He says, mold yourself. From this particular individual creation of egoism, arrogance, intolerance, trying to dictate terms to others, trying to say other man that we are superior to him, that we are a better expression of the divine than he is. All this is arrogance. He never accepts that. He says, live in such a way that we are the most humble person, that we are humble servants of the divine who is trying to express fully through us, and we are allowing only divinity to express itself, rather than allowing our creation to be expressed. We use our creation only for enhancing the beauty of his creation. If we speak, it is our creation. In this process, what we are trying to do is trying to beautify the Master's message, to express it in a much more meaningful way from our insignificant point of view. Our point of view is insignificant because our point of view shall be the point of view that will prevail in our life. But in our own way, we are trying to express divinity. All this while, we are trying to share our wisdom of the Master, and we are trying to determine ourselves to follow the path given by Him for our happiness. This is how I try to make my vocal cords function for Him. This is my creation. Surely these words are my creation. These are not the creation of the Master. He has expressed himself in a different way. But when I do this, what I am trying to do is to explain his thought, however inconsequential it might be. In the process, really, I may be marrying it also. One may not take our message. He may not understand our English. He might not understand the way in which we have put it. But he will understand this small thing that there is one divinity above. We can 100% be sure regarding this. And we have to succeed 100% in achieving this goal. And thereby alone will we be in a position to propagate his consciousness that is pervading everywhere, that he is prepared to enter into every one of our being, influence our being, and make it summum bonum of our life. This is molding our life. Molding does not mean that we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, say we are absolutely following the commandment. Nobody is bothered about it. We get up at 4 o'clock or at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, or we don't get up at all. Who cares? Our life finally should be like this. That is, that it should develop a feeling of love and piety in others. No hatred, no jealousy, except love. And this is possible when that divinity, as we discussed, which is deep within our heart, hidden in the core of our heart, is allowed to express, and all our limbs, all our faculties, mental or otherwise, are utilized for His purpose. If we use it for our purpose, naturally it is our creation in action. If we use it for His purpose, then it is His creation in action through us. This commandment gets implemented by an awareness of our oneness with Him, and we understand that all our faculties are really His gifts to us. We realize we have nothing that can be said to be ours. All our limbs and sense organs are really His, under trust with us. In our meditations, we experience our non-entity and the reality of His being as we move towards the Brahman. Any insights to share?
Nothing else. It's clear, I think.
So, in commentary given by Babuji Maharaj, there is a second sentence. It says, we get power from our thought. And when does that happen? When our thought is in consonance with the divine. What do you understand from this? Maybe we can discuss. I had always wondered about that sentence. Somebody can throw light on this. The first sentence, we get power from our thought. It happens only when we create perfect harmony between things of our making and those of the divine. This is how this commandment starts. What would it mean for us as practicants?
Probably we can think in terms of simplicity and purity. So we have to maintain our purity levels. That's one thought I can say. So when we consider, when we think that what is divinity, or it is the purest form of thought. So we being thought forms basically. So if at all we maintain the that level of purity in thought, action, and deed that is similar to what is living when we living in consonance to the thought of divinity. Probably that's one thought I have. To raise and live in a purer state.
Okay. Anybody else wants to share?
And maintain that with constant remembrance. So that's the thing.
So one thought I think I got to understand is that normally all of his teachings, are guiding us to get to our ultimate goal. And whatever practices that we are doing, I think all should be directed towards that. And also, like Sir mentioned in his commentary, that many a times we tend to put our ego and certain of our preconceived notions, etc., into our dealings at many point. So instead of that, I think you put a broader perspective or a divine perspective into it. I think then you are in consonance with his consciousness.
So here, what would it mean, perfect harmony between things of our making? What are the things of our making?
Our making, these are all like excessive attachments, excessive, anything beyond a certain point, which are actually not required. What is not natural in that sense.
So how do you, what would you call as creating perfect harmony between this and that of the divine? I think this is a very deep sentence. Each one can interpret in our way, but I feel this is very loaded. We need to think deeper. What are the things of our making and those of the divine, and how do we create perfect harmony between these?
In a way, if at all I want to share some point on this one. The concept, like we have thoughts are results of actions and actions are results of thoughts. So where do they originate from? So the root cause probably we realize that is the mind. What is mind consisting of? Manaschit, buddhi, and ahanga. So among this, the purity aspect, like we have got in the first commandment itself, like purity of body and mind. Body adheres to listening, seeing, talking, thinking, all the aspects. So the purity aspect of the mind. So when we think and act and on in some other situations, some other discussions, or in some other similar topics, even Pujya Babuji also says that when we want to humor a baby, we pose like a child. So as to when we want to reach our goal, so that purity of thought and action and intent, and that way, when we act with constant remembrance and dedicating the result to the master, so probably that is that's where our doings, our regular dealings, our creation of samskaras and our creations, basically that's what every action will lead some impression. So that load has to go down, means we have to purify ourselves and maintain that purity. So that aspect we have to for me, it is inferring that maintaining the pure thought and living in a constant remembrance, dedicating the action. So that way, he will be acting, and we will be instruments. That's the thing.
So I found the answer to this. I mean, of course, there is no one answer, but one perspective which I've been wondering for years on what it means between harmony of our making and that of the divine. So, as Pujya Sir explained, there is our creation and there is a divine creation. So, when we use our creation, which is things of our making, to express the divine, then that is what can be called as harmony. So, I think this fruition of this sentence in our consciousness will happen when we have negated ourselves and allow only divine to express through us. Then that harmony will be perfect harmony. So that is what my understanding was. Things of our making is our creation, and our creation should be used to express the divine. And when that happens, then our thought gets power from the source. Otherwise, we are strengthening only our creation. It will strengthen formation of our samskaras. So yes, in a way, what Ravi is interpreting is also right. But Sir has explained in this paragraph. So I related this explanation with the first sentence, that our creation is our creation, but we can put it to use to express the divine, to express the master. And when we do that, then it is in harmony. So I find this paragraph, this molding to from our individual creation to be able to express the divine. That is that alludes to the first sentence of this commandment. Anybody else wants to add anything here? So we'll read Pujya Dr. KCV commentary on Commandment 9. The 9th commandment is simple and straightforward. It says that one should live in such a way as to arouse in all or all around a feeling of love of God and pious living. One becomes imitable and an example to others. Secondly, it provokes not love of oneself or for oneself, but to God. For one begins to ask oneself how it is that one lives so nicely as to evoke love for the individual himself because of the love that he has for God. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad states that not for love of oneself does one love another, nor for the sake of love of another does one love him, but for the love of the Supreme Self or God does one love another, because he sees God as the source of all life and love. source of all life, and does he love everything, or rather, does he not shrink away from another? This viewpoint of God towards man and all is what is natural, whereas the way to love things in this world for the pleasure they give and so on is unnatural. God shines on all equally insofar as he is the inner force or anna, food or spiritual power that sustains all according to their status and evolution. Our aim being to reach the highest, we should mold ourselves in the manner of godly living and godliness, which is precisely the experience of love to all. Unless one loves all, one cannot get the return of love. Love leads to real piety because it is the love of God in all and it is selfless. God's nature is similar to that of the sun. His love flows to all in equal measure. One who loves God also begins to love all and draws all towards the divine. The Kenopanishad states the condition of one who loves God. All beings seek him with love. Thus, one develops the divine nature when one loves God only, and thus stirs the inward love within each and every one. God's approach to each individual or being is individualized and unique. This is the occult mystery of the unity of the one and the many. The one manifests in the many, and in diverse ways, it links itself up with everyone individually. There is only the unity of the source which relates all to one another. Thus, in the natural path, we link up ourselves with God through love and discover that we love all and that others love us with divine love. Even if in fact anyone seeks to love us differently, it is our duty to make it possible for them to love us through divine love, or love us for the sake of the one supreme and the ultimate Godhead or reality. It is true that reality has a peculiar fascination for man, which is distinct from the fascination for man which the unreal has for him. Our work is to withdraw from the fascination of the many as many and seek for the one which is the essence of the many. So I understand this last sentence as loving unity and trying to see that unity in diversity. And seek the love of one, which is the essence of the many. So even in diversity, we should seek the unity and express love for it. instead of love for the diversity itself. In spiritual life, one has to learn the 3 R's: ridicule, repression, and respect. Even as in ordinary life of education, people say that one must know how to read, write, and do arithmetic. One who loves God is ridiculed at the beginning. If one gets over that state, he finds that others put hindrances of all kinds before him. And even then he persists and he goes indifferent to either ridicule or repression, people begin to be serious and seek to know why anyone should seek God and not the world. A shock thus coming to one leads to the re-evaluation, and naturally one reaches the state of love of all and gains love of all. Master speaks of the deserts of love only when one reaches the higher states. However, to practice the love of God in one's everyday life is to gain the love of all others who see in him the same essence of being. Nature is indeed working her own natural way, and if one lives in conformity with her, then he also becomes more and more attuned to the ultimate being. The most natural way of living is godly life for man, and this life cannot be in contradiction to any other way of life when it is lived naturally. Man goes beyond the realm of hatred and passion and rejoices in the being of God. A truly godly life is possible only through the love of God, and such a godly life produces in all beings the love and the piety that is central to the very life of the Abhyasi. Anyone wants to share any insights from here? Okay, you spent about 45 minutes. Should we conclude?
ठीक है भैया